In today's video, we're going to break down my latest war attack and teach you the two best Town Hall 11 versus Town Hall 10 3-star attack strategies. Stay tuned, guys. What is going on, guys? Judo Sloth here, and welcome to today's video where we are going to break down my war attack, which is a Town Hall 11 versus Town Hall 10 3-star, and then we're going to go forward and teach you this attack strategy and also the other best ground Town Hall 11 versus Town Hall 10 attack strategy. Make sure to let me know yours in the comment section below and leave a like on the video if it is helpful. Make sure to subscribe as well for more Clash of Clans. So let's get into today's video, guys. This base had already been hit. It was close to the 90%. Now, what I was thinking when I was looking at this base is we have two Infernos right in the middle there next to the Town Hall. Now, what I can do is get an Earthquake spell onto that, get damage on the Town Hall and both Inferno Towers at the same time. So fantastic value for that spell. But what strategy are we actually going to hit this with? Now, there's plenty of gaps in the base. Now, a big thing about this is there is a double giant bomb right here next to the king. So that was a big thing about my plan. What could I attack this with? And how could I go about doing that? Now, what I was thinking is this base looks quite good for the miners. There's then two channels on the outside. There's one at the bottom here and one at the top. Now, we could take each one of them out with the heroes, either hero, and send the miners sweeping right the way through the base here. Now, I wanted to kind of attack from the southeast side just because I could hit that multi-inferno head on, and I had a little bit more time to prepare for the clan castle troops, draw that out with the king, and hopefully take it away from my miners. But I know that there's a baby dragon and a couple of witches in there, but the main thing was the double giant bomb set. So what I decided, guys, was to try and obviously avoid this with my miners. There's other giant bombs, one over here next to the bomb tower, one at the back next to the queen, but all of them I could heal through. It was just that double set. So how can I eliminate that? Well, what I decided was to bring in the queen from the very south. Now, if I take a couple of wall breakers, break her into this compartment here, she could take out this entire section, even take out some of these defenses, and mean that the miners wouldn't even have to track to that area. They could go directly to the town hall and around the double giant bomb set, meaning that we're all good in terms of that splash damage. We don't have to worry about it. So that was the plan there. Decided to take some healers in the CC as well because I don't have max healers. And whenever you can maximize troops, guys, I highly recommend you do so. At the top, the king was going to walk along this area. Took a couple of wizards just to help him. And then it's miners and Grand Warden from there. So let's get into it, guys, and show you the attack now that we've broken it down and shown you exactly what I was going to do. So in comes the queen from the south. I don't have to worry about any kind of funnel here. If I pop her onto the gold storage, she'll take out the gold mine and the army camp and move straight forward as long as I have that wall open, which, as you can see, got the wall breakers in nice and sparingly just in time to open that up. Now, I did have a loon in the CC as well, just means I can test for any bombs in that area to try and save the healers, but the queen is now very much on that path. She's going to walk into that area, take out that entire section, which is exactly what we want. I then bring the king in from the other side along with just them two wizards. It seems pointless just sending the king in by himself. You can get so much more damage in there just by having them two wizards. They're completely tanked for. So he takes out that area, draws the CC where I can also take that down, and check out just how well the queen has done down here. Gonna have to pop her ability right at the end of the king. But she does get the king down, and check out that area where the giant bombs are, just the king's altar, but she's going to step up and take that out. So I can now be confident in sending in my miners. Now check this out, guys. They're going to go right around that area and completely miss that double giant bomb set. You guys wouldn't even know it was there. It's just because I seen a previous attack on this. Now, as the miners come forward, what you want to do is maximize on heal spells, basically. But you want to use a rage spell to help get them to that Inferno. That multi-Inferno is down straight away because of that rage spell. And then we have the heal spell. Any problematic areas as well, guys, make sure you have your Grand Warden's ability for that area. So I used it over a giant bomb. That's another thing. If you can, save the giants the Grand Warden's ability for giant bombs, any double sets, you can actually just heal through them with the Warden. But as we get to the back end here, had to use another heal spell just where that giant bomb was at the end there. But as you can see, this base is wrecked. And guys, the Queen charge that I implemented in order to take out and eliminate that double giant bomb area, you can implement that to any one of these attacks to help with cleanup, because the miners, if they clump up too much, you can run out of time. So as a Town Hall 11 going on the Town Hall 10, what you want to aim for is getting the funnel set for the miners. Queen on one side, king on the other is the simplest way to do it, but also make sure you get a good spread. I made sure to send some miners to the left and the right as well to kind of reinforce the king and the queen, just so they didn't clump up too much. Now as we check out the second attack using the miners here, it's a little bit different, just goes ahead and alters it very slightly. So I used a very much kind of mass miner attack with the queen charge, but you can change this as much as you want. But the miners, guys, I'm telling you, they are one of the best strategies for Town Hall 11 versus 10. Very simple, get that funnel, get them in. As you can see on this one, we're just creating the funnel with the baby dragon for the queen to walk up towards the north here, and then we're actually going to use the miners just to flank down 1/3 of the base, whilst the main army comes through the middle. So we've created a funnel up in the east here. Then you can see a golem along with what we're going to reinforce here is the king and the bowlers, but notice the miners at the very top there. They're going to flank down this entire side, and it means that it just keeps the bowlers on track right through the center of the base. That tends to be where the heart of your defense is. The real heavy hitters are, you know, the Inferno Towers, the Eagle Artillery, they all seem to be stuck in the middle there. And it just means that you can get your bowlers right into the middle with the king and the queen and get a lot of damage whilst the miners are flanking down that side. So just another way of looking at it, guys. But honestly, if you are considering the miners, I would probably say it generically, as it's, you know, a little bit simpler, a mass miner attack, getting the funnel created. I would recommend implementing a queen walk or a queen charge. It does tend to help out quite a lot. And again, guys, maximize on heal spells, use the rage spell to help get them to the Inferno Towers, and you should be good to go. In terms of the next strategy, the second best, or, you know, definitely on par, it's very base dependent, but the bowler witch strategy we're going to show you next is fantastic for Town Hall 11 versus Town Hall 10. Any of you guys that do these dip attacks, I mean, you know, some people will say that there's, you know, you should be having a massive hit ratio on these, but they are still difficult depending on the base design. If it's a max 10, it's not exactly just a pushover and just throw the troops in. You still need a bit of strategy, guys. So the bowler and witches works brilliantly if you can get access right the way through the base. Now this one, a little bit different to how I normally do the strategy. I do have a replay coming up in a couple of attacks time, which is precisely bang on how I do this strategy, but a brilliant demonstration here. Basically what you want is to be able to get access through the base and to them Inferno Towers. So notice how we take not one, not two, but 3 jump spells on this one. That gets him access right to that far Inferno. Now the giants are a brilliant touch. I never used to take the giants, but I've been having a lot more success just by taking them few giants at the start. It just keeps the fire off your witches at the side, just allows you to set up the attack that little bit extra. And I normally take 4 to 6 giants depending on the kind of cover ratio that I can get from the base. So then you want a couple of bowlers with a couple of witches on either side, and it's kind of the same principle as that last one with the miners. They walk around the outside of the base whilst you get the bowlers and your heavy kill squad into the middle. Really maximize on spells in this area. So you can see the jump spells provided access right the way through to them Inferno Towers. That is the main focus. I've said it many times on my channel. Town Hall 10, when you're attacking them, it is about the Inferno Towers. You need to have a plan for them. You really have to have that as your primary focus. So the jump spells provide you access right the way through the base. The more of the base that you can expose, the better. You're going to have an easier time with your bowlers just walking through. And as we fast forward through the rest of it here, a couple of point defenses on the back end, but check it out. We still have the Queen ability. We have the Grand Warden helping to boost all of these ballers up. Witches continuing to spawn skeletons. I mean, this base is just crushed. Fantastic example. I know it wasn't fully maxed, but still provides you with the strategy you need. Let's move on to a couple more Bowler and Witch attacks, because we tend to use them a little bit more in Red Elite, but we are using the miners here and there. Just popping across to one of our other wars, the previous one, which we unfortunately lost. But as we move down, let's go first to number 13. So this attack by Killer, I mean, he's just a beast. Check this out. He brings heal spells for this one, guys, and I tend to bring heal spells as well, but I only bring one. I tend to bring, more than not, I bring 3 jump spells, a heal spell, and a rage spell, but again, it is dependent on the base. So on this one, he brings a couple of healers just onto them witches and ballers either side, and it just helps to keep them up, guys. Helps, even just them 2 healers either side does massive amounts for your witches on the outside. It's beautiful because the skeletons run ahead of the witches and take out the trash buildings, which mean the witches target onto the defenses on the inside of the base, and the healers keep them up. So that's happening either side. We then have the jump spells again. You can see they've provided access right to this far Inferno Tower, and as soon as the first one goes down, he has a heal spell in there, whilst this back Inferno is out of range. So it just helps to boost everything up with the rage spells in there. Before you know it, again, you have point defense on the outside of the base, but the real core is down. You still have lots of bowlers, Queen ability still, because she tends to sit back having that greater range just behind the bowlers. If you take a golem as well, she has plenty of, you know, troops protecting her, so she tends to make it right to the end of the raid. And then check it out, still plenty of witches and bowlers around the outside, and again, this base is going to go down in a flash. So very much like the miners, the trick to the bowler and witch strategy is getting your funnel set. And the way you do this on the bowler and witch strategy, unlike the miners where you use the heroes either side, you use the witches and just a couple of bowlers to help reinforce them. Tends to work quite well. Can implement the healers as you saw Killer do here, and it just means that they can set the funnel, so you can actually take your heroes into the middle of the base with the rest of your bowlers, where you're going to have them really heavy spells, and it means you can maximize on them heroes, especially if you have the max level. Going to be very helpful to do that. As we move down to the next attack by Kingslayer, this one differs very slightly because we bring earthquake spells. Now, I never normally do this, but again, all dependent on the base. How can you alter these strategies slightly in order to give you the best advantage? I'm just giving you kind of a baseline to work with here, guys. Adapt it as necessary to the base. So check this out. With 4 earthquake spells, Kingslayer has opened up this entire base pretty much. Once he uses that jump spell to get into the base, that back Inferno has access to it, and you can see how the bowlers will be drawn up that way to take that down as soon as possible. Again, a nice wide spread across this side, and you're almost just sweeping from one side of the base to the other. The witches and bowlers are walking around the edge quite nicely. No healers on this one, just pushing forward with the rest of the troops. Now, I haven't really touched upon the spell deployment at this point, but out comes the CC. Poison spell goes on, and it's often quite good to use your Grand Warden ability to help get them through the CC, or if there's any giant bombs going off in that area. Notice the freeze spell on the back end Inferno as well. Often if you're going to use a freeze spell, it tends to be for the back end Inferno, just because it's a little bit less predictable. The further you get on in the raid, things can start going a bit more wrong, and you also have your abilities kind of earlier on in the raid. You can use that Grand Warden ability and your rage spells to help get you through that first Inferno. Just have a plan for the Infernos, basically, guys. I say it every single Town Hall 10 video, whether it's heal spell, rage spell, freeze spell, taking it out beforehand. Just have a plan for it. Obviously, in my attack, I took the Queen in, got rid of that double giant bomb set so the miners could really target onto them as soon as possible. And let's move on to the next one then. So, against number 18 here, Miller the Killer again, but this is how I like to do this strategy. So he brings a couple of giants in. I sometimes have a little bit of a better spread, but it just depends on what you're trying to tank for. This base not very spread out, so he's going to get more than enough tanking from them giants. Then he has a couple of witches either side, check that out. Them witches are going to walk right round the side of the base, keep the rest of his troops into the middle, and he's also lining up the Infernos. Notice how he's not kind of attacking the base and getting hit by both Infernos at the same time. He's getting hit individually by one, and what it means is because he has that heal spell, check it out, he gets through the first one. Very unfortunate not to have the bowlers bounce to take that first one out, but as it goes down he then has a heal spell ready just to boost his bowlers back up whilst they're still kind of out of range of this back end Inferno. So there's the heal spell, look, it's healing everything up before they get in range of that Inferno Tower, and it just means that, you know, the bowlers, they are a little bit weak when it comes to health. They can go down very quick, a couple of giant bombs and they're already right down there, but a heal spell helps to boost them right up in health. So definitely consider it, guys, if you can use it in an area of the base out of the way of the Infernos, not necessarily directly out of both Infernos, but if you can take one down and then you have a bit of distance before the next one, it's a prime location to take it down. And check it out, we don't even get that far Inferno Tower straight away, but we still have more than enough troops to wipe out this base. So there is my personal two favourite ground Town Hall 11 versus 10 attack strategies. The mass miner attack, again, we did show you a way you can implement it in with the bowlers and things as well, because the bowlers, they're just beasts, aren't they, really, guys? But I personally prefer a mass miner attack, as you saw on mine, just creating that funnel with the queen. Probably a queen walk or queen charge I would recommend, and the king on the other side. Make sure you get a good spread on the miners as well, guys. I've had it before where I've ran out of time because I haven't had the miners spread out enough, so you need to make sure they don't clump up too much. The bowler and witch works very similar, have the witches on the outside to create that funnel, whilst the bowlers and your heroes come through the middle where you have all of your spells in order to take down them heavy hitting defenses and get yourselves the 3-star. Make sure to leave any other tips and tricks down in the comment section below and let me know what your favourite Town Hall 11 versus 10 attack strategy is. I've been your host, Judo Sloth, and until next time, take care, guys. Stay tuned for more Clash of Clans.